Hey guys, morning. Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Vicky, and also when you're watching this, drop where you are coming in from, where you're seeing this from. I always like to know where people are. I think it's super cool. Okay, so today I thought I would come on and give you guys 3 inspiring stories of famous people to inspire you to never give up. Okay, if you're feeling like you're working towards something and you feel like you want to give up, I'm going to give you 3 inspiring stories of people who've all been there and that made it happen anyway. Okay, so before I get started, I actually have a full list of 9 stories. I only have time, unfortunately, to go through 3 today, but I actually have a full list of 9. Okay, they're all people that we've all heard of. They've all got really amazing stories. If you are feeling like you could benefit from the experience of successful people, then feel free to reach out to me. You're going to want to hear their stories because they're amazing. And even if you just want some motivation, you just want a bit of positivity, feel free to reach out to me and I'll send you that complete list of 9. Okay, yeah, I'll just dive straight in. Obviously there's tons and tons of inspiring stories of famous people. I picked my 3 favourite stories, okay? So the first one is J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Before she wrote Harry Potter, she was divorced. She was on government aid, and in 1994, she could barely afford to feed her baby, okay? And just for credit, I'm getting these from themuse.com. If you'd also like that website, feel free to send me a message as well. So J.K. Rowling, she was divorced, she was on government assistance, in 1994, she could barely afford to feed her baby. 3 years before this was 3 years before the first Harry Potter book was published, okay? Did you know she was so broke, she couldn't even afford a computer, she couldn't even afford photocopying, she had to type out each individual version of her 90,000 word novel to send off to publishers. I mean, I think this was even in the days before the internet. So it's not like she could go to her library to use the computers there to send them by email, which is probably what authors would do these days, right? She had to type out, I'm assuming that she had a typewriter, on each individual version of 90,000 words to send to publishers, and she was rejected dozens and dozens of times until there was a London publisher called Bloomsbury that had previously rejected her, and they actually ended up giving her a chance. They ended up publishing her book because the CEO of that company's 8-year-old daughter fell in love with the book. I mean, can you imagine that? That's hunger. That's hustle. That's someone who's was not willing to give up. And just think, because of an 8-year-old girl loving the book, I mean, imagine that. We may never have even known who Harry Potter was. So that is someone who obviously today she's a super successful, she's a multi-millionaire, maybe even a billionaire. She started from these really tough times, and she went on to become one of the most successful children's authors in the world. And I just find that really, really, really inspiring because, not being able to feed her baby, I mean, that must have felt awful for her. Having to type out each individual manuscript of her novel, that was someone who obviously, that's hustle, that's hunger, that's someone that really was desperate to change her life and her family's life. I mean, that is someone that I can't even, that is someone that is really, really, really inspiring to me, okay? And so, yeah, because of the CEO of that company, their daughter, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but their 8-year-old daughter fell in love with the book, and that company gave her a chance, and obviously it's gone on to create, billions of pounds and dollars, okay? And it's a world sensation. Okay, so that was J.K. Rowling. Number 2 is Jim Carrey. He's someone that I really, really love. I love all his movies. I think he's just awesome. But when he was just 14, his dad lost his job as an accountant, and they had to move into a van, a Volkswagen van, and live on a relative's lawn because they couldn't afford their house anymore because his dad had just lost his job. And basically he was so dedicated to becoming a comedian that he sent his resume to the Carol Burnett show, and like he actually ended up taking an 8-hour job in a factory after school to help his parents out. So going to school for, I don't know how many days, like hours a day, 6 hours a day maybe, and then going to work in a factory for another 8 hours just so he could help his family make ends meet. And basically when he was 15, he performed his first comedy routine on stage, which apparently it was not good, but he wasn't discouraged by that. And basically at 16, he quit school to focus on comedy full time, and he moved to LA. And this is like, you've probably heard this, but every night he would park his car and visualize his success. And I don't know if you know, but you've probably all seen the video, the interview he did with Oprah Winfrey, you know, where he talks about how he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and he dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and then just before, I think it was like Dumb and Dumber, he found out that he was going to make 10 million on that movie. So basically he had carried around that check. I mean, it's on one of those motivational videos, the interview he did with Oprah Winfrey. He put the deteriorated check that he'd kept in his wallet for I think it was like 3 years, and he actually, when his dad died, he actually put it in the casket with his dad, which I thought was like super awesome. And so he's someone else who, you know, I love Jim Carrey. I just think he's awesome. So I think he has a really, really awesome story. And number 3, the third one, is Tyler Perry. Basically he had a really rough childhood. He was abused as a child. He got kicked out of high school. He tried to commit suicide twice, once as a teenager and then again at the age of 22. And in 1992, he wrote a play called I Know I've Been Changed, which was based on his turbulent upbringing. And he put all of his savings into the production of that play. He wanted just to make enough money just to look after his mum, who I don't think was very well. And it obviously failed miserably. The first showing of that film, only 30 people turned up, and he was expecting like 1,200 people. And he kept up with the production, and there was times when he had to sleep in his car. And, you know, 6 years after he wrote that play, he had a breakthrough. And now he's one of the most, like, he's a successful, and obviously like today, he's a successful director, actor and writer. And in 2011, Forbes actually named him the highest paid man in entertainment. And so like, I just kind of like, because we like see successful people, and we kind of like, especially celebrities, we kind of see them as like, we see their success, and like any successful person, we just kind of sometimes assume that they just somehow became that way, and they didn't have to struggle, or we just kind of assume that they've always had that success. But the reason I kind of like wanted to share these stories was kind of like, if you know, just to show that everybody in the world, when they're building something or working hard towards their dream, that everyone goes through struggles, okay? And so I just really wanted to share that with you. I always love reading inspiring stories of people that we know, and reading like what they had to go through. So I hope that it was valuable and inspiring to you. If you would like me to send you the full list of 9 inspiring stories, please feel free to reach out to me. I hope that you all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.